Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We are back here again with Stacy, and she just told us the sweet and peaceful story of Carson, her son. So, Stacy, thank you again for being here with us today.
Yes. So Carson was born at 34 weeks. He was stillborn. We don't know what happened to him. That was February of 2023. So a little over a year ago, about 15 months ago.
Yeah, and still, I mean, that first year I think is so incredibly hard, and I'm actually curious to ask you about like how that first little bit was, and then also how it's been kind of after. I feel like the 2 or 3 months is always just really, really hard.
Yeah.
So can
Those
you tell
first
us?
couple of months were, the good part is, that's when you get all the support.
Yeah,
If people are sending things, which is great, but it was also the darkest time too, I
yeah,
would say. Just, it's hard to get out of bed some days,
yeah,
but having a toddler, a 2.5-year-old, I had to still, be there for her. So just kind of finding those moments to, put my mom hat on and then
yeah.
my grief hat on. So just, I remember just wanting to go on walks all the time,
Mm,
go on walks and read books, and anything that I could connect with at that point was super helpful. So
yeah. Did you go back? What was your work's policy? Because you are a teacher, and it is also extremely tricky because a stillbirth is not considered a birth in the insurance eyes a lot, the government's eyes a lot, and I know
yeah.
there's movements to change that. So how did that work for you?
Yeah. So they told me my school has been this whole past year has been amazing. They jumped right in. I didn't have to make sub plans or anything while I was
Awesome.
gone, which is huge. The teachers I work with helped me with that.
Amazing.
They told me I could take as long as I needed, so I never felt pressured to go
Okay.
back. But I'm a very much routine person,
Yes.
so I waited about a month to go back.
Okay.
So the kids had gone on spring break about a month after we lost Carson, and I thought that that would be a good time to come back that Monday after. And the other great thing is my principal said, you could come back and you could change your mind. You
Okay.
can. He's like, you could get to school Monday and decide, nope, like I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So I think that was helpful too, just knowing like if I tried to go back,
Mhm.
and I wasn't ready, I could, take more time if I needed.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and that seemed
amazing.
to be about a month was a good amount of time to, have that time just to grieve. And I think by that month point, I was ready to, try to step a little bit back into
Mhm.
routine.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. It really does feel like it, well, at least for me, and routine was huge for our family to be able to feel just a little bit of normalcy or something, right? Like it's
yeah.
um
And I know you shouldn't distract yourself too much while grieving, but a little distraction is very, very helpful.
yep.
Like just during the school day, just to have my teaching hat on, and
Yeah.
that was my job and my purpose. And
Yeah.
of course, like my job, it's more of just I love it. So it wasn't a pain to go back or anything.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
actually very helpful. And my school, with my permission, they sent out an email to all. It's a very small school,
Mhm.
so everyone knew I was pregnant. So they sent out an email with my permission, just kind of explaining what had happened.
Oh, okay.
And then they went into the classrooms to talk to the kids about
Yeah.
what had happened, with letting the parents know they would be doing that. And so when I came back, everyone knew,
Oh.
all my students knew, and
Yeah.
it just made it so much easier. I didn't have to repeat what had happened
Mhm.
because everyone knew what had
Yeah.
happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How were the kids? Were they would any of them talk to you about it or anything?
Oh yeah, they wanted to talk about him a lot. And of course,
Oh.
I love talking about him. So,
Yeah.
and they weren't afraid to ask about him. And I
Yeah.
liked that. It was just a normal conversation. Like, and they would say the sweetest things, like, they're just very much like, I'm so sorry your baby died. Like,
Yeah.
can we see a picture of him? It's it's like they have that, they say what other people don't know if they can say.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Of course there were a lot of, and I'm a teacher, so what happened to him? Like they
Mhm.
wanted to know.
Mhm.
And I just had to say, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened. And they were,
Yeah.
that's kind of hard for them to hear. Like, what? Like,
There should
you
be a
don't know what
reason.
happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they were so good. And they actually, first and second grade, they give the best hugs. So
Oh, yeah.
give all the love. And yeah, my school is like my family too.
Mhm.
So my coworker, Ellen, my friend Ellen, who I teach with, she pretty quickly after it had happened, they had gathered cards and donations and gift cards, all of these things, and brought them over to my house, which
Oh,
was and cards from the kids that they had,
yeah.
drew pictures. And one of them, I think, said, "Fly high, baby Carson."
Oh, that is the cutest.
Yeah, just those. I have a box of all of that stuff from them because I just felt so supported by them.
Yeah.
And they had also gone, Ellen and Jenna, the teachers I work with, they had gone to pick out a wind chime as a gift
Oh,
from the school.
yeah.
And they said they went to the flower shop and they picked it out and they went up to the counter to, pay for it. And they put it in its box. And the company the wind chime was from was called Carson.
What?
Same exact spelling. So
What?
they brought it in the box to me and it has Carson like literally all over it. Just Carson, 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 Carson.
That
And
is cool.
yeah. So that was really special.
Yeah.
Just a crazy like like
I
story, a
know.
sign, a coincidence, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah. A little wink from your
little,
son.
yeah, little God wink.
Yeah. Yep. That is cool. Like, I love that little kids are so just open. And you
Yeah.
like you said, they will ask the things that you as adults sometimes are not sure that you should ask, but they're like, they just want to know. So like, what's the big deal? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is wonderful. And you really only had, I guess, just a month or two after, right? Before you got out for the
Yeah. So
summer
then it was a
then.
quick turnaround then before summer. So it was
Okay.
actually worked out that I did only have a short amount of time
Yeah. Okay.
left after that.
Did you do okay? Did you feel like you did okay at school?
I think so. I think I'm the kind of person I can really, like put one hat on and,
Yeah.
be directed at that. And yeah, I think it was hard, but
Mhm.
I would go home pretty tired just because,
Yeah.
like not that I felt like I couldn't,
Mhm.
show my emotions, but it was just I'm very good at just like, okay, I'm teaching right now, like,
Mhm.
and then going home and being a mom and then
Yeah.
making sure I took the time to still grieve because
Yeah.
it's
You
never
don't need
ending.
yeah, it's never ending and having it bottled up is not great. So,
Mm.
how did your husband, Brad, did he end up taking a bit of time off as well? I know that that's always a little trickier also, yeah, with paternity leave. That's another, another discussion. But
Yeah,
was
he
he able
took
to take some time
his
off?
I don't think he got, I think because it was a stillbirth, so
Mhm.
that would be something that would be nice to change. He didn't get the like right now, like when we had Sophie, he got 2 weeks off
Okay.
paid.
Yeah.
And I don't think he got that, but he took time off.
Good. Okay.
And he got bereavement time and
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
think he ended up taking 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. Great.
So a good amount of time. And but he too he needed to get back to work
Mhm.
for his own sake,
Yeah.
get back into the swing of things. So yeah.
Have you noticed any differences in how you and he will grieve? I know that there's always a lot of differences, and you mentioned it in the birth story too. That you're just like there were some times that I was crying, and then I'd be okay, and then he would be crying, and so yeah, I like what I guess
Yeah,
what
I think
differences
at
have you
first it was
noticed?
easier because not easier, but I think we were both just so heavily grieving that we were
Yes.
both, on the same page. But then I think he was more, quick to like, let's, not move on, but like he didn't talk about Carson as much and I
Hmm.
would talk more about him. And I think we just started grieving differently as
Yeah.
the months went on.
Hmm.
And I had to learn to, not judge his grief
Yeah.
based on my grief.
Yeah.
I think was huge. And I think someone had told me that at one of the support groups I went to is, you know, he's not going to grieve like you grieve. And
Yeah.
it's something you just have to learn to understand each other.
Mhm.
And just because he wasn't openly crying or talking about Carson doesn't mean that he wasn't missing him or grieving him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Yes, there's just very I think we just need to give each other a break about
yeah.
how we do things. We're all just very different people, so you did mention that you went to a support group. What are some things that did help and has helped through this 15 months since you lost him?
Yeah, so we have a organization here in Iowa called No Foot Too Small.
Mhm.
So I was directed to that pretty quickly by several people, and I had known about it before too because of my friends that had gone through loss.
Yeah.
But they have monthly virtual support groups, and then a few in-person ones
Mhm.
throughout the year. So I found that very helpful to be able to tell Carson's story and to
Yeah.
listen to other stories. So I found that extremely helpful. And they also just do so many cool things to celebrate our angels.
Mm.
So they have a gala every year where you get all dressed up, and they have a set of angel wings with that you can have a feather with your baby's name on it that travel
Oh.
around Iowa.
Oh.
Um, we just went recently to, it's called Angels in the Outfield, a baseball game, and we
Yeah.
got to go out with his sign, and just it really has brought a lot more joy to our
Mhm.
grief, I would say, is just being able to talk about Carson and be with people that really understand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I found that huge, just connecting with people that have been through what we have.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I connected with your podcast
Yeah.
so much when I found it. I listened to every single episode because that's just what helped me. I
Yeah.
wanted to hear other people that have been through it and what they did,
Yeah.
what helped them, what didn't. And it really helped me navigate this past 15 months.
Yeah. Just knowing what other yeah, because I love these advice episodes. I love talking to people because I was like, "Oh, I have some unresolved grief that I need to deal with," and just how some people have worked on theirs. I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna try that," and I just so appreciate because yeah, you're like, I'm not alone in this, and there are others that have can lend their experience to my situation, and I so
Yeah, and
grateful
they're
for that.
actually in July, they have a golf tournament that they do, and they asked us to be the feature family. So
Oh,
I'll get to
cool!
share Carson's story on the microphone at that. So this
That's
is
so
good
great.
to help me prepare for that
Yes,
because
you will do so great. I think that
just
is
any
so
way we
fun.
can, see his name or honor him is
Yeah,
huge. And I think that's helpful just to be able to remember him.
yeah.
So
Well, and also kind of very happier ways, right? Because a lot of our memories that we have with our kids, that we've lost are kind of tinged with sadness and
yeah,
so that's kind of cool that you're like, oh yeah, I get to feature him at this
yeah.
golf
Like I said,
tournament.
yeah, it just brought a lot more joy to
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
think as time goes on, there's days that I'm sad, there's days that I'm okay, but it's nice that, I'm probably never going to be the same as I was, but
Yeah.
at
Mm-hmm.
least I can find joy in life still.
Yeah.
And
Well,
joy in Carson, not just the sad moments.
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That sounds like a cool organization. Any other things, or I guess maybe any things that those around you did that you kind of want to shout out? I always like this part. It sounds like you had your coworkers are amazing, your principal was amazing, um,
Yeah.
and your mom and dad, your in-laws seem to be right there for you and giving you also space too. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like we were just getting support from, I mean, I was like, gosh, I forgot we know this many people because everyone in their own special way was doing something, whether it was
Mm,
sending flowers or they started a meal train that
yeah,
people could sign up for. So we had different people from school, from our family friends, just sending us gift cards for that and
yeah,
meals, which was so helpful because the last thing I wanted to do was be trying to figure out what to feed the family
yep,
in those first weeks. So I would say that was huge. And that's such an easy thing to set up to for anyone that
yeah,
wants to do something helpful. I will say we got so many fours and I loved every single one of them, but I would look at them and I remember just thinking, oh, these are going to die. These are going to die. And I don't have much of a green thumb. So I just remember I was like, I've got to do something with these, like,
mm-hmm.
because they're just going to die and then I'm going to have to throw them out. So my friend Kayla, she had said she dried their flowers out and
Oh,
kept them.
yeah,
So again, I just from hearing what someone else did, I did that too. So there's a piece from every little plant or bouquet we got, and I dried it out, and then I
Oh.
put it into a little shadow box.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, so and that was my way of like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to keep all of these and
Mhm,
they're going to
mhm.
die, but I still have a piece of all of them that I
Yeah,
can look back on.
and just think of the support. I think that is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, and I think yeah, anyone that sent anything like cards, and
Mhm,
literally anything, I got so many beautiful pieces of jewelry, and
mhm.
I swear someone could have sent me a potato and wrote Carson on it, and I would have just probably just been the happiest person
Yes.
ever just looking at that. So literally anytime someone was thinking of him made
Yeah.
me feel a little bit better. So
That's so sweet. Yeah, that's people are incredibly kind, and you just
you just,
appreciate.
yeah, you just you have incredible people, but then like when they really are there for you,
Yeah,
it's incredible.
yeah. You
It
just
really is.
just feeling showered and supported and loved is, yeah, so, so
Because
helpful
it
in
is a
those.
tricky situation, and I didn't know how people everyone would respond. Like I
Mhm,
didn't
mhm.
know, if they would consider it the same as losing like a 1-year-old or
Yeah,
5, it's just a different situation that,
yeah.
I didn't know what to expect from people around me, and they exceeded my expectations. So
They they were there, and that is great. Anything that you would maybe recommend not saying or not doing that was a little hard for you as a grieving mom? Is there anything that you just wanted to point out? Maybe not calling anybody out per se, but just anything
yeah.
that is not as
Yeah,
helpful.
and again, nothing that was like ever like directed to make us feel bad,
Of
but just a
course,
few
yeah.
things that I didn't find helpful. Like everything happens for a reason and it was God's plan.
Yeah.
And the hard thing about those is I truly believe that. Going through these 15 months, I believe that, but it wasn't helpful at first when people said that,
Yeah.
because it's like they almost like they wanted to make me feel better, or like I should feel better about the situation.
Yeah.
So, because even though I believe that everything happens for a reason, and my faith is so strong, I just didn't find those statements to be helpful.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Def
any statement that starts with "at least," and
Yes.
I've heard that on your
Yes.
podcast before, but it's so true. Anytime, at
Yep.
least, or at least you weren't 40 weeks, or at least, you
Yeah.
didn't get, he
At
wasn't a few
least
weeks,
at
again, it's just people trying to make you feel better. And I
yeah.
did appreciate that. But that, yeah, anything with at least,
Yeah,
or
that is a
you
great way
should,
to do it.
any at least, or you should. Anyone telling me you
Oh.
should do this, like,
Oh.
which I didn't, yeah, like you should do this, or you should do, like,
Mm.
I didn't find that very helpful. I felt
Yeah.
like they thought I should be doing something that I necessarily didn't feel like was helpful, or
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I've never heard that before, but you're right. Like, because it feels like they're directing you on how to grieve or how to process things, or
and
yeah,
again, it was just trying to be helpful.
yes, yes,
A lot of people, they kind of just ignore the situation and don't
mm,
want to say anything. And I can really relate to that, because I remember before this, I was that person. I thought that if I didn't say anything, I wouldn't make them sad, or if I just didn't bring it up, they wouldn't be thinking about it. So I really resonate with people that didn't know what to say.
hmm,
So I think by me being so open about it, like on Facebook and just posting about Carson, talking about him, I think that gave more people, like, they knew that it was okay to talk to me
yes,
about him. Like
kind
I
of so.
specifically said, please do talk to me about him. So they didn't
Okay,
have to guess, does she want to talk about him or not? Like I let them know that I want to. So I think
yeah.
that was, and because I didn't really run into that too much, where maybe people I didn't know very well, and that was fine,
Oh,
but
okay.
no one really close to me ever seemed to be doing that. And I think it was because helpful that I let them know what I needed and what I wanted. So
I think that's the key. Is yes, I think you can tell people that they have permission to talk about your baby, and I think that's good. Just because they just don't know what to do. Yeah, because you're like, I don't know how to help you, and
yes.
yeah.
And everyone wants to help. And sometimes, and there really isn't anything you can do. There's nothing you can do to fix a situation.
No,
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Just
people know that, and they want to find anything that they can to help. And I
right.
really appreciate anything that was ever done or said in hopes to help me or
Yes.
to
Yes.
just brighten my day. So
Yeah, they were just thinking about you, and you always have to just kind of remember, yes, they are well intentioned and well meaning, and it might just
yes.
not come off exactly the best. At the timing is everything. Actually, I feel like
Yeah.
some of the, like you said, some of those statements that you said, you're like, I truly believe also there is a reason for everything to happen, but I had to come to that conclusion on my own.
Yes.
I didn't need somebody to tell me that. I'll get there. It'll take
Yeah.
me a minute, but I will get there.
And I know some people, right away are, okay with that. And then
Yeah.
other people because one thing I remember my priest said to us when he was up in the hospital was, it's okay to be angry with God. And that was huge for me. Like giving
Oh,
me permission. It's okay to be
yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
That stuck with me a lot because, yeah, just that statement really
Mhm.
stuck with me. It's
Yeah.
okay to be angry and it's okay to be upset. And I think
'Cause
whenever anyone said, I don't know what to say. Like they said, I don't know. And I appreciated that because,
mhm.
yeah, it's hard to know what to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just trying to
Or just, I'm here for you. Let me know what you need. Kind of let me lead the way a
mhm.
little bit, I guess.
Mhm. Yep. This has been so, so helpful. I know that you had mentioned to me that you had a letter that you had written to Carson. Would you like to share that with us now?
Yes. Yes, I will. So this is a post I wrote on Carson's first birthday. So February of 2024, February
Mhm.
15th. Dear Carson, February 14th, 2023 was the worst day of my life. I was told you no longer had a heartbeat. My world as I knew it was completely shattered. February 15th, 2023, we got to meet you, say hello and goodbye, hold you for the first and last time, take pictures, and try to squeeze a lifetime of memories into a few short hours. This is a day we will always cherish and remember you. Meeting you was one of the greatest moments of my life. Since that day, your presence is with us. Some days in subtle ways, and other days you are loud and clear. We see you in the sky, sunrises, sunsets, the stars, and perfectly timed rainbows. Callie always tells me how beautiful you painted the sky for us. We see you in nature, specifically eagles and ladybugs. We see you when Callie's face lights up as we visit you at the cemetery, or when she sees your light shining through the window. She is such a proud big sister. We see your light continue to shine through our amazing community of family, friends, and strangers who go out of their way to make sure we feel supported and to keep your memory alive. In memory of you, I will show someone kindness today. I will go out of my way to make someone's day better. You have taught me so much about myself and life, and I will make sure to make every second count down here. I hope I am making you proud. Until we meet again. Love, Mom.
That was beautiful. I love that you as a family look out for him in little ways. Eagles and ladybugs. I just
Yeah.
think that's so sweet. Stacy, thank you so much for sharing Carson with us and also lending some experience and advice today with us. That was so so helpful and I think gave me a number of ideas of how I can support people better too on my like I'm always surprised. I'm like, I am not very good at this, despite the fact that I have a podcast that talks specifically about this kind of thing. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Yes,
Is there
absolutely.
any last bit of advice or any last little anything you'd like to share with us about Carson or supporting others going through this?
I just think whenever you can support someone, do it because that's everything I've done this past 15 months is because I saw someone else had done it. So
Mm,
it's just huge to be there for other people and also trust your instinct. I knew something was wrong and I didn't know if I trusted my instinct, but now I 110%
mm,
trust that mom instinct in me. And yeah, just trust that. Trust the people around you to help lift you up.
yeah, amazing. Thank you so much again, Stacy.
Thank you.